guest interviews, top 10s, top 20s, album reviews, and more. Now here is your host, Eric.
Yeah, man, those are my groupies just screaming like that, right?
That was pretty cool intro, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, do that kind of off the cuff. We were talking about doing stuff off the cuff, and that's like a riff I was working on for like a song. I thought, well, until it turns into a full song, I'll use it as my intro.
That's pretty cool, man. I like
thanks,
it,
brother.
Well, I've always liked your music and the Wisp stuff. Sometimes you guys went down the rabbit hole, but it was cool to go.
Yeah. Sometimes we can go on some pretty wild trips, And even like when I write music now, like sometimes, like I'm writing a song right now that sounds like totally indie rock or whatever. It's very mellow, kind of acoustic style. And then next thing I'm writing something that's metal. And what's up, everyone? This is Eric. I'm your host. This is the Metal Block episode, I think, number 33. Damn, I call this season 4, episode 33. So, and I got a very special guest with me, Eyajo December Joseph from Black Heron Gallery. But he's also not only a musician, but he's also an artist and illustrator. Got this cool book here out called One Death Box, One Fable, and it's chock full of, what would you consider these, like haunted nursery rhyme type stories?
Well,
short stories.
I've been a poet forever, so I mean, I was a poet before I was anything.
You were a poet before you know it.
Exactly. I was a poet before I know it, and the next thing I knew, I could write songs and then draw paint. So it's poetry, it's lyrics, and I write my lyrics just like I write my poetry, and I usually always am kind of narrative or lyrical, which be kind of rhyming,
Yeah.
And they've always been stories, and they're all fairy tale-esque or fable-esque, but I would say creepy fairy tales or nursery rhymes or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. So, it all comes from those early influences as a child, right? Like, so you say this book was like kind of 30 years in the making.
Yeah,
all the description, and like what brought it about, or like, what do you remember when you first kind of started thinking about doing it?
I first attempted to write to publish this book in 1995. It was self-published, and then again in 2018, and then finally now. But those two versions never. Even though I made some copies, just a few people around the scene might have them, but other than that, they don't know where. This one is now available worldwide, and it's not doing bad.
So this is that one that, so even back when I knew you back in those days, like I remember you had a book you were working on or was going to put out. I think you did, maybe like you said, maybe did a few copies. So this is pretty much that, but this is sort of an expanded version of what you started out going to be doing back then. Or? Okay, cool.
Although I didn't want to because some of the stuff that I wrote in 95 and the stuff that was in the book in 95, I wrote in the early 80s and the mid 80s, but there was, even though it was a lot of crap that I wrote, there was a couple gems in there, and I just rewrote them and reworked them through the years, and those are all in here. But like I said, even that manuscript over the years is probably closer to 300 pages, but I took the best and the stuff that I reworked, and did it in this one. But I didn't want it to not have what I was doing now in there too. So that's why the last year I was also just formulating and doing the, probably about 30 to 25 new pieces. The art was pretty much all done in the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going to ask you about that. Like, did the art kind of come like after, later on, or maybe you kept some of this older art from before and then maybe added newer stuff? I would imagine.
No, the art's relatively new. I just did the art in the last 2 years.
Oh, cool, nice.
When in 95, I did publish it with some drawings, and they were cool, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep drawings with the poetry. And then the next time I tried to publish a little bit. They're not the same books. If you look at them, they've got reminiscence of these, but it's not the same thing. And then the second time I published it, I didn't put any illustrations, and then I was starting to try to like maybe illustrate little books. I don't know. You can call them children's books, but I would call them adult children, or at least because they're because there's a little bit of nudity or some bad words. So I don't think it's completely children. So
Yeah, saw a few F-bombs in there.
yeah, there you go.
Which is
It's like,
cool,
yeah, there's that. I guess that's the Charles Bukowski in me coming out, right?
Yeah. That's what I like about it. I like the fact that you do that because it's like, sometimes when you see books like this or this kind of style of poetry, like very gothic, it's very reserved, and but then that story about the little girl with the eye that the guy kept asking, like, what happened to your eye, and so that's where I know I like that story. And I know sort of like the F-bombs are cool in that, but what's cool about it came across so natural, like you felt like you were really like watching or listening to that character talk, like as if it was a real person, and like
Oh,
using
cool.
the language that we use, and so yeah.
Oh, that's funny. It's great to hear you describe it like that because you just like described a short little movie.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll turn it into a little movie sometime.
I think so. I mean, every one of these can be like most of them anyway. It can be some type of movie. That's why I was going to ask you. Like, have you thought about maybe adding some kind of visual? Already got the illustration visual, but some kind of video element to this. I think that would be kind
you
of
know,
unique.
Eric, I think about it almost all the time to
Yeah,
do some kind of film, but I don't know, but because I have such a body of work, I'm
yeah,
probably going to have to jump into the AI thing because
yeah.
I could probably make a film for every poem with that AI within a year or
Yeah,
two. You know what I
you
mean?
probably could. Yeah, especially
So
with the
I've been kind of studying that and trying to wait for the right ones that I want to do and stuff like that. But I've got some of my own film work I want to do, kind of that I'm
yeah.
looking to do first. But I had a friend that animated using a couple of my drawings. I didn't know you could bring my drawings to life. I never seen
Okay,
anything like
yeah.
that.
Oh
And
yeah.
he animated like 4 or 5 lines from just one drawing. I'm like,
Oh
wow.
damn. Because that
But
would be because if you do like even an AI or even use an animator, I mean, you definitely want your art to be like that, and I think
yeah.
AI can capture that as well. I see it like as if you were to do like a kind of like you be the host, and then you kind of set up the story, like kind of like a Tales from the Crypt type of thing, where you tape yourself sort of talking, giving an introduction, and then then you show the video or
Yeah, that's a
the
good idea.
episode. That
Yeah,
might be
that's a
kind of
good.
cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I've kind of thought of something like that one time with
Hmm.
like like being a horror host. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, like you're out in the
but
woods maybe, and you got the book in your hand, and that'd be cool.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if I don't use it. That's pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah. I'm a man of ideas. Anytime you need something, let me know. I get the little light
But
bulb all the time
I'm surrounded by creative geniuses.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
a beautiful thing.
yeah, it's insane. But
Yeah.
it's like I'm nobody superior, but I got a lot of equals.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
That's the beauty about art and music. It's just like we're all like just part of that one thing that brings everything together and the world together, and with all the crazy shit that goes on, but there's one thing that can tie us all together is art and the music, and keep us like bounded in that just that whole love of art and music. I mean, you can't go
Oh
wrong with
yeah.
it.
No,
But
I completely agree.
yeah. What about like as far as like, so I know I know you like your musical influence as far as your like the Bauhauses and the the goth scene that you grew up on in the early days. But what about as far as your writing and your art? Like who are those heroes of yours as far as first like your artist hero or your writer hero, growing up?
Oh, well, let's see. God, writers. I love poets. I mean, I collect
Hmm.
poets. Do you know how many editions I got of Edgar Allan Poe?
Probably a lot of
Yeah,
probably more than Tony.
or like Robert Frost or Sylvia
Yeah.
Plath or Annie Sexton or
Okay. Yeah. All the
yeah
classics.
one of the guy that did it for me when I was a little boy, but I didn't know who he was. And here's the funny irony: is my high school was named after this poet.
Oh yeah.
But the poetry that got me started in the whole thing, scary stories and everything, was Little Orphan Annie by James Whitcomb Riley.
Oh okay.
The little poem used to say, "The goblins will get you if you don't watch out," and that
Yeah.
scared
Yeah.
the shit out of me when I was a little boy. And then in the poem, there was a part where we would say, "There's two big black things standing by her bed." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Oh
So
wow. Yeah.
and then years later, I'm going to high school, and it's James Whitcomb Riley in South Bend, Indiana. I'm like, oh
Oh
wow,
wow. Oh,
yeah,
that's
and and I never knew the Orphan Annie poem was by James Whitcomb Riley until years later when I actually sat down and started studying poets. But
yeah.
so yeah, like about almost all the poets. I like some of the horror writers and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
um literature, I like you know, Metamorphosed by who's that? Frank Colts? No,
Dean R.
what's his
Koontz or Frank Koontz? Frank
no,
Koontz?
no, no, an older God, what is his name? I know I'm saying it wrong. Shit.
Huh.
It's about where you know he's turning into a cockroach.
Okay, yeah, I don't can't think of the guy's name either. I know who you're talking about though, but yeah.
Oh man, I should Google it. But anyways,
Google
I
that,
like
people.
yeah, I like Charles Bukowski. He's just rude and obnoxious, and I love his down to
Okay,
earth shit. You know,
yeah.
so it's a crazy thing. It's funny. I
Uh-huh.
even wrote a poem last year that was somebody. These two characters are arguing about an outhouse,
Mm.
you know, and describing you know the shit almost touching their ass, you know, because it was
Yeah.
so full. I don't
Yeah.
know if I'll publish that one, but it was cool. Man, after I got a great drawing I want to do for it, so you
Oh
know
yeah,
I'll
okay.
probably publish it. You know, because the thing I wanted to make clear in this book is, even though I primarily go after the nursery rhymes and the
Hmm.
song, the lyrical stories and the fables and the fairy tales, because I like all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Hmm.
I still have that the confessional poet, or just strange observations in the world. You
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah.
so that will jump in there sometimes too. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I just wrote a poem that was technically about a little guy flying on a red-tailed hawk. But the thing is like I saw this red-tailed hawk and I said, well, let me put a little guy on it. But now it turns into a very, 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 very little guy. So
Yeah,
it came
okay.
out as a strange poem. So you know, I go, oh shit, I got a good drawing for that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I got this dark humor in me as well, you know. So that's cool. Like
I mean, that's the beauty thing about just the dark humor, because I mean that's the expression. You know, when people think about dark and evil and things like that, they think, "Oh my God, that's going to influence the wrong kind of people." But no, you got to understand that's an actual outlet for the stuff that we think about, and it's if you put it in art and poetry and illustration and into music, it takes all of that negative stuff that comes with being dark or evil or sinister. Like
right.
when you express it through art and stuff like that. So what about like so as a poet, like how do you know when you've okay, you know how like if you're a musician, like you're feeling okay, I'm progressing, I'm getting better at this, I'm a better songwriter than I was a year ago, or I'm a better guitar player or singer than I was a year ago. How do you do that? How do you feel like way with the poetry? Like do you feel like you've come to that point where okay, I still got more stuff I need to do and improve on, or I think I like where I'm at right now, and I'm just going to keep riding this wave, you know?
I think I like where I'm at, but I'm always learning. You know, I'm
Yeah,
always
yeah,
open to whatever, because you know, it's like now I'm starting to get published in journals and little magazines and online
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I didn't as much before. I think, you know, but I did back in the day. I think your brother published me too,
yeah. I
but
think you do.
yeah. But and most of those people they've like maybe sent me an edit or two, and it's very modest. You know, it's like oh, why don't you put this comment here? And technically, it's all free verse, so I can do whatever I want, even if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Uh-huh.
But you know, it's like you know, and would read it back like yeah, okay, it works that way, it works the other way too. But I see what they're trying to get, and it doesn't change what I wanted to do with it. So yeah, cool. But
Hmm.
no, I always you know I'll write and things are coming out, and then there'll be one day I'm just questioning everything I just did, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
no, I am at that's why again I guess that makes sense why I'm actually releasing this one worldwide, is
Yeah,
because I can stand by all these.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, every one of them. Writer wise, I'm not anybody can find anything wrong with any writing, you know, because I've learned that from all the
Yeah.
editors that are out
Yeah,
there.
just that's just part of the art and part of the territory
Right,
that comes with it, right? Yeah.
right.
It's
So
subjective and you're not going to please everybody, you know? Mm.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
but I right now I'm at a point where you know I can just and right now I mean the drawings are coming out of me like there's no tomorrow. So and it's
Hmm.
like I drew this really strange drawing and now I got a poem for it, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's like crazy, and I'm like so you know I don't know. I mean I'm gonna be releasing a bunch of little chapbooks, you know, like 30 or 40 page ones with just
Hmm.
you know a little bit modestly, kind of like this is an album and those would be singles,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they'll have different poems in them, but they'll also have that. But all of them right now, my plan is just to put everything that I write poem wise and just keep releasing different editions of this with a different cover, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I'm looking at doing some kind of watercolor and ink drawings. I mean,
Hmm.
kind of drawings, paintings to maybe in a future edition, maybe throw in some color paintings in here too.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I like
Not
that a lot.
like these. These are more acrylics, but
Yeah,
these are very
like this right
saturated
here.
because these are cool. But I want something a little bit more washy. You know, like the old
Yeah.
books like Alice in Wonderland and stuff like that.
Hmm.
That very almost monochromatic art or painting or color. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
where the tones are lighter.
I can
So
see that.
yeah, kind of that old rustic look. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. And how long does it take you to, like, say when you get an idea, like you said, the ideas come to you like rapid fire basically, and so how long
Some
does it take for you to nail one down and complete it completely? Like, does it take or do you let it simmer for a while, like if you know it's going to be really really good, or
it's a combination of all of that.
yeah.
Sometimes like the poem in here, Alligator Coat, came to me just like in a couple hours. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, wow. And then and then a couple other poems in the book. Even a few days, few months. It's because I
Hmm.
would just stop, write them, and go come back to them, you know, like
Yeah.
that. But I would say if I got the ideals, if I got that beginning, middle, and end, because I usually try to write like a 3-act story
Okay.
on a lot of the poems. It's like when I do a song, my verses are like kind of usually like a 3-act, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I like the simplistic of that, but you know, if I've got that down, then I can usually flesh it out pretty good, you know.
And how,
Not doesn't take that long.
yeah, how many of these actually became, or did, and what came first, like I say, the chicken or the egg, but like what came as far as like the Gargoyle project, isn't that a Black Heron Gallery song, but was that a
Mhm.
poet
Yeah.
before you made it a song, or did it come afterwards?
No, that one I mean after Chris wrote the bulk of the music on that one. I mean I did all
Okay.
my keyboard stuff and Tony did it.
Yeah, yeah.
But Chris I write to the main melody, whether I do it on piano or I do it on guitar. But when
Okay,
Chris
cool.
you know, because you know I heard that and I said, yeah, Chris, I like that. That'll work definitely great with the band. So when
Uh-huh.
he wrote that one, I said, okay, give me music, let me just play around with it. And then I remember one time listening to the news, and they were talking about the you know that big famous church that burnt down that had all the
Oh yeah.
gargoyles on it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
that song was roughly about.
Okay, cool.
Don't
Yeah.
remove the because there's a myth and or urban lore. If you take the gargoyles off the church, that you know it's open to attack, and they
Oh, okay.
let, from what I heard through the news, that they technically removed some of the gargoyles to clean them before that fire happened. So
Oh, really?
that's what I heard. So wow, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It's like, motherfucker, they should have left him dirty.
Right. So I wrote that from that, you know.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. And what other so what other stuff are you working on? Like you said, you might have a side project going on. What's that about?
It's called. I announced it finally because I've been writing songs, you know, amongst everything else, all the last 2 years for Black Heron Gallery,
Mm-hmm.
and but I also knew I wanted to go more experimental with this
Yeah.
album. But as I've been writing, I'd come up with an idea to maybe start working on something of my own because I'll be honest, you know, with Tony having a side band, you know, Chris now having a couple side bands, and
Yeah. Good.
everybody's got side bands, you know. So like it's not
Uh-huh.
something you can fight. It just seems to be a thing that's in the whole scene. You know, back in the
Yeah.
day, you probably remember this. In the
Yeah.
beginning, it was you stick with one band and you just go
Yeah.
for it, you know.
That's how I was. I
But
was always one that stuck with just Will O Wisp, but then Tony always had a side band. Like he had you guys and
right.
other bands,
Yeah.
and then I think other guys had side
That's
bands.
how yeah, Eric. I was like you. That's what I was doing, you know. And so,
Yeah.
and because I got to focus on one, but now that I've been juggling successfully, at least product wise, getting things done, my
Hmm.
poetry and writing, and my black ink illustrations, and then my painting,
Yeah.
and music, and film work. I was kind of doing some acting stuff too.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been I've been juggling it pretty good. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can juggle another band. So
You're pretty good.
um,
Yeah.
it's experimental, you know. It's
Hmm.
gonna have all the, but it's you know it's got I don't know. It's gonna be again like poetic stuff,
Hmm.
but it's gonna be goth death rock. I don't know. Let's see, Leonard Cohen esque, um,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Velvet Underground, maybe Tom Waits. Kind of, it's just gonna be
Yeah.
weird, Eric. I don't know
Larry
what
Lou
it is.
Reed, Tom Waits. I can see
Right,
that. Yeah.
right. So in the guy and with all the other music, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it, and I'll probably put another band together for it. I'm gonna
Okay.
go down with Roman. We're gonna start putting it down in about 2 months.
Okay,
So,
cool. So in other words, yeah, so
so
you're gonna find other musicians to work on it with you, and then what?
well, I'll probably end up doing the first 4 or 5 songs myself. That way,
Yeah.
with Roman. That
Hmm.
way, they just get the ball rolling. And if they come, they come. If they don't, then I'll finish off the album and then start something else. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Along with
Speaking
like,
of speaking of Roman, he was right down there with all those fires, like the casting. And you too, like
yeah,
how
yeah. I
did
already
you?
called him up to see if he was
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, he's still
yeah.
good. He's doing
I was
good.
like, oh man, I hope he doesn't lose that studio because like, it was like when
No, yeah, no shit.
yeah. And what about you? Like, were you okay with the fires? Like, what happened? That did you have to
Yeah,
evacuate all? Or how,
we were close. I mean, we could see him. I could see the one in the Hollywood Hills over here. So,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
So confirm with the audience: did the Hollywood sign really burn down, or was that all just AI pictures?
that was AI pictures. It didn't burn
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, they make it look so damn real. The damn AI is taking over, man. It's like it's
No, but that
crazy.
area that I mean, there was this part that burnt. I picked a few years back. I was driving Uber and I picked up Michael Wincock. You remember the guy
Okay.
from The Crow?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I picked him up as right there off of Cahuenga by the
Oh,
Hollywood
cool.
Bowl, and I
Yeah.
took him over to that one restaurant there on Sunset.
Oh
And
yeah.
but that little area right there was not that Sunset area, but that area before that, right there in the hills, right there, it got some fire. So
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a name for that side project you're doing yet, or is that something
yes,
that
it's called Spiders of Gray Ridge.
Spiders of Gray Ridge? Okay, cool. We're gonna look up
Yeah,
for that. Have you
yeah.
have you considered doing a book tour for this book that you got? The one like
I'm trying to purchase because I'm trying
that
to
seems to be the
purchase.
trend nowadays with like a lot of writers and authors. Is book like when Bruce Dickinson he had his own book out and he goes on tours with it and he does like a reading to the audience. It's just him and Alex Van Halen did that and I could see you doing something cool like that where
Well,
you
yeah,
show up maybe at galleries or something.
right. Yeah, I'm looking into that, but I want to. I'll be honest. I actually got the official final edit for this first edition. Finally,
Hmm.
the test copy came last week, so that's
Okay.
why I let it go worldwide.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right now, I just bought what 15 copies from the press. I'm trying
Hmm.
to get at least but they take like 2 or 3 weeks to get to me. So
Yeah.
I'm probably one more month. I just want to go out when I do the readings to at least have 40 or 50 copies so I can have some to sell if people want it. But I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna go talk to Amp Rehearsal. If I do, maybe I'm gonna try to do a rent 2 hours and just invite people there that want to come, and then I'll look for other
Yeah.
people that want to do it.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Now, where does this book available at? Like, is it just available through like what's the website that you can get your book at?
Well, it's the Lulu.com has all versions of the book, a pocket size, hardcover, soft
Okay.
cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one that that you got, but that one that you got, that soft cover, that digest size, that one's
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah,
Okay.
you can get that on, I guess, Amazon and
Hmm. Okay.
what's it call it, Barnes and Noble,
Barnes and Noble.
Booktopia, all
Yeah. Yeah.
those, yeah, all those places.
Is it physically being sold in stores too, or is it pretty much where you just order it online and it's kind of like a print on demand type of situation?
It's a print on demand, but
Yeah. I like that. I
Amazon.
like that. I love that invention. I mean, whoever thought of that back in the whole print on demand thing is like it's brilliant because back when we had to sit there and order stuff in bulk and then have half that shit sit around or you had to pay a big exuberant amount of money. Yet the more you get, the less you have to pay. But then you had to order like 1,000 copies of like a T-shirt or something just to. I
Oh
love the
yeah.
print on demand thing. Like it's
Well, yeah, Lulu's one of the best. This is the hardcover version, and it's
yeah,
gorgeous. It's just expensive.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like technically this book would probably be about $25, but I got to sell it for 35 because it's just too
yeah,
expensive to make.
yeah. In
So
order to even make a little profit off it, you got to like
right,
sell
so
it.
I only keep a couple of these for the diehard that really wants to buy it, you
Hmm.
know. So,
Yeah,
but other than that, it's just the soft is actually, believe it or not, that soft cover is relatively reasonable. So I
yeah,
can
yeah.
make enough healthy little profit, and
Hmm.
I can, nice fair profit, I guess is easier, better word to say.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I can buy a few and get them shipped to me, but I got to pay for shipping and taxes. So
Hmm.
but it still gives me a little bit of a profit, a little fair profit that I can do with that. So.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's why I'm trying to buy 40 or 50 a at a time when I do these readings. So
Hmm.
call around and try to get some other readings, but it's cool. I mean, I can go do a reading. I got a little black briefcase. I can just
Uh-huh.
throw in a couple copies. Oh, a reading, you just go somewhere. Don't do
Yeah,
it. Now
right.
I got a little amp, and I can bring my mic if they want me to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that too. Yeah, so
I could see you like in the park doing it with a couple crows on your shoulder, all dressed in black,
That'd be cool.
That'd be badass,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it too? I mean, I could go by the Palisades where everything. No, that's too soon.
Oh yeah, probably too
Permanent
soon for
gas.
that. Yeah, it would look cool
Yeah.
though. It would be
I
cool.
don't mean no disrespect to the dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know me. You know all of the artists in our realm. We all
yeah,
like that. We don't want to
yeah,
be in that. We don't want to hurt anybody,
yeah,
but we
yeah.
do like we
We
like
like
the imagery.
the visuals and the idea of being
Yeah, we like the
somewhere in
burnt
there.
out. Yeah, we like the burnt out landscape.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a beautifully destructive. It's a destruction of beauty. Is there a beauty of destruction, as they say? Yeah, yeah. What about as far as like illustrators? Like who would who influences your art? I mean, because you have a unique style, obviously. I mean, it's very I can see your art going back like a couple centuries. In that style of the way you do it.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I like that Harry Clarke. He's
Mhm.
a black ink. I'm sure you've seen his work.
Yeah, yeah. I've
Um,
probably seen his work. Yeah.
very like ornamentive, black and
Hmm.
white ink. I like
Yeah.
that. Like oh man, I like a lot of the guys that did like with the what's that gory guy or the ghastly stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like Locke or Vincent Locke, maybe or no? I know Vincent Locke is one of the great gory type artists, but
Yeah, I can't forget his name.
yeah,
I got to remember some of these names, but I like a lot of those ink illustrators. And you're right. I do like a lot of the older looking
hmm,
older illustrators and stuff like that. It's
yeah,
funny how they end up calling these artists these inkers like myself, not ink because I don't just ink. I draw it and then ink it. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I
You
do the
draw
whole
it,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, so the funny thing is they, that term, I started calling them illustrators because they wanted to keep them out of the art world.
oh yeah, yeah,
Because it never made sense to me. I mean, I draw this and then I paint it. So, but
yeah,
I'm a surrealist. I mean, what surrealist, sometimes a little bit of a nod to the absurd, like
hmm,
an absurdist tradition. But
yeah,
in both my ink drawings, my writings, my music,
hmm,
all this and these paintings, and I like people like the Francis Bacon and
yeah, yeah,
Remedios Ferraro, gosh, of course Salvador Dali,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
One of the greats right there.
yeah, George O'Keeffe,
Hmm.
um, Max Herntz, um, you know, I could just a whole whirlwind of them,
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand about like when it comes to art or even music. I mean, me, I've always, and even myself, when I create music or even art, I like to be expressive. I like to be surreal, like you say. It bores me if I see an art that's just basically the same exactly what you see in reality. Like if someone draws like a portrait of
Yeah,
somebody
I'm
and it looks
exactly,
as
yes,
and
same
then
way.
they have all the techniques down, and it's just the same with music. It's like if a guitar player is super smooth and technical, it's great that they could do that, but it bores the hell out of me if someone says, "Well, why didn't you be like that?" And I say, "Well, because it bores me to even try to learn it." So I like to be expressive, and I like the fire to come out. It's all about the fire and the energy that you put into something, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's supposed to be raw, and it's supposed to be an expression of who you are and on the inside, and all the stuff that goes around you in your life. And I
No,
believe I believe it should
I
represent who you are.
I completely agree with that. In my
Mhm.
painting and in my paintings, I have expressionism as well because sometimes you'll see portions are wrong. Because sometimes I'll do that. Like I'll make a box instead of putting it in the right perspectives, I'll just tilt it so it looks all stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh.
Or instead of finishing a line, I'll go
Yeah.
because I like that. I don't know why. I agree with you, and I do the same thing with some of my ink drawings too. If you notice,
Yeah.
some of them are really detailed in dots and
Yeah. Yeah.
shadow, and then some are like.
Yeah. Because if
I
you were to
like
draw a perfect box, then it leaves nothing for the visual the person visualizing it. It leaves nothing for them to expand on their imagination with. But if you have something that's like kind of imperfect looking, then that person can actually like interpret it how they want to interpret it.
right,
If
exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's a
Yeah,
beautiful thing.
I'm a big fan of the expressionism. So
Hmm.
surrealism and expressionism kind of combine.
Yeah.
figurative. I guess also you could add figurative there and absurdist, because figurative is basically is a description of any time you draw figures, and that's what
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
doing. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I agree. It's like I have a couple of friends that are like life artists, and I mean, God, it looks like a damn photograph. It is them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to want to inspire to that. And when I was in high school, I was actually starting to be at that point, according to the teachers.
Hmm.
And the thing is I realized that why is it every time I go in an art gallery, I'm not looking at that. I pass it by and I say, wow, that's cool. How ingenious. It looks just like a photograph. It's so real, so great. Then I
Yeah.
go and I see something like Jean-Michel Basquiat, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, why am I looking at this? Why am I
Yeah.
staring at this? But
Because
it's incredible. I know it's simple. I know it's the attitude that it's so simple.
that's what it is.
It's
Yeah.
it's like, fuck you. This is
Uh huh.
great art, and you're gonna
Yeah.
like it whether you want
Yeah.
to or not.
Uh
And I'm
huh.
like, okay, I'm gonna be a purist, and I'm gonna like the realism. Now, I'm not gonna diss anybody on that technical
Yeah.
skill.
Yeah. Me too.
Everybody that says shit about that would wish they had that skill. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. Those are beautiful drawings. But
Uh huh.
then you could put the Basquiat next to it, and you're just as intrigued.
Yeah. Your eyes are gonna just go straight to that.
And in most cases, right now, you're richer because the Basquiat is what worth, what, a couple hundred million now. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So, but I gear, the Jackson Pollock and all those Pollock or whatever, and all those. I mean, I would, or God, how about Marth Rothko? I mean,
Oh yeah.
what
Yeah.
that guy, right? Marth
Yeah.
Rothko, just those color stripes,
Uh huh.
big. Oh my God!
It's
But
crazy,
you
huh?
know what? I get it. I understand why it's so infamous. I understand why it's so expensive. But
Hmm.
not everybody gets it. I always
Yeah.
have these. I have to
Yeah.
have these conversations with my son too. It's like,
I
Dad,
always figure
why?
like,
I'm like,
yeah, I always figure if
it's
you're gonna
like,
draw something that looks like a photograph, why not just take a photograph? Like,
well, that was the whole thing in the art movement when photography came into being. All the traditional painters that went through those schools and those elite colleges and institutions for that
hmm.
realism, that
Yeah.
traditional painting, kind of felt that's why modern art came about. They
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
break rules. And so it's like, well, why can't this be art?
Yeah.
And Picasso, didn't he famously say that it took me, what he said, it took me 5 years or something like that to paint like the masters, but it took me a whole lifetime to paint like a child?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And if you go and look at Pablo Picasso's history, he had a blue period and the pink period or a rose period. And his stuff, I didn't know, but he's right. He
Yeah.
painted like the masters. He
Right.
had
Yeah.
that realism down.
Uh
And
huh.
and
Yeah.
then, but he got, even though those are expensive and people collect those and like those, he
Yeah.
became more renowned for the stuff that just looks like you would say a child did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's so
But
amazing. Like what frustrates me is like when I saw that story of it happened like maybe over the last year sometime, or maybe it was a few months ago. Was in Australia. There's someone I guess put a banana on a wall or something, and that became like a $6 million sale, art sale or whatever. There was just a banana taped to a wall. It was like,
yeah, you
then
know what?
I was like, what the fuck?
I think Eric, I think they term that stuff installation art. Where it's
It's,
something that they put together. Because there
yeah.
was some guy artist that he like just ripped out the whole floor
Uh
and just
huh.
put a big old dirt hole.
Yeah.
Um, wow. But I know some people just argue that that's just money laundering. But I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking too. Obviously, because when somebody pays for something like that and they put that much money into it, that's probably what makes it valuable because somebody was willing to pay that much for it.
Well,
And
that's another thing about art and
uh,
the art market is, it's like,
yeah,
if somebody buys this for $500, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard the next time for me to sell it for something more expensive. Although
yeah,
right
right.
now I've got an art manager and this piece is going for $4,000. But the thing is
Nice.
once people start paying the money, that's usually kind of where it goes. A little up, a
Yeah,
little bit, or
yeah.
maybe a little down, but a little bit up.
Uh huh.
It's not saying that you're doomed if you sell a piece for $500 or $600 or something like that. I'm not saying
Hmm.
that. It's
No.
just that you gotta, like, I mean, if you're producing, some people don't care. They'll just sell it for whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
even though I'm fast, I've started to kind of condense my art to a more, not completely detailed, but just more of a thought out thing. you
Hmm.
know. So so they're taking longer to do. I'm not whipping them out in 3 days. And they
Yeah,
take
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but I can still finish one in about 3 weeks.
Does it
You know,
pain you to let one go if somebody comes in and wants to buy one of your art pieces? Like it's something that just took a
uh,
lot of time that
there
you really
it's
love and Does it give
Yeah,
you a
it's
little bit of
starting to
pain?
get that way, but I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
like
like
I
a
said, that
bittersweet.
yeah, because I'm using that one for the cover of that new project. But no, I
Yeah.
like this one a lot. This one right
Uh-huh.
here.
Yeah. It'd be hard
So,
to
huh?
be hard to part from that. I would imagine if someone came along, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
buy that for 1,000 or 2,000. Be like, wow, I could. The money would be nice, but at the same time, it's like then I wouldn't have this again or have it
Well,
anymore.
I'll never be able to make it again. No,
Yeah, so that's
I could
especially
always
when you
make
do
this.
that kind of art or even any kind of art that you express art, it's hard to repeat it. Like there's no way. That's why, and that's
Right.
another reason why I like expressive art, even music or guitar playing is that it's never the same. It's always different whenever you go back onto that canvas or onto the fretboard. It's always a different thing coming out of the person's body or out of their mind and out of their heart.
Right. I mean, like I said, I lucky enough, I hooked up with a friend with that. He's an art manager. He's gonna
Yeah.
be an art manager, and he wants to get the stuff into a gallery.
Yeah, I think it needs to be in a gallery. I think the
Yeah.
whole world needs to see your stuff. I mean, because you are,
Well, thank you.
yeah, I mean, you're up there, man. Like, I mean, your stuff is just,
I got
it's,
some bigger pieces right now that they're
mhm,
going to be asking
yeah,
13,000 for.
yeah.
So.
I mean, because you got the good. I think what you just obviously need the exposure. I mean, you need to be like in those
Right.
galleries, and I think once you get into those, it's going to be, you know, sky's the limit.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that'd be great. Because I mean, you don't know how long. You don't know how long you get to do music. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
I want to be able to completely get into something else. I'm poetry, writing, and drawing. Yeah, I've
yeah,
always
yeah,
done it. So
yeah. Because
I
you can
want
do that
to.
till you're 99, and it's
Right,
like,
right.
you
I mean,
know.
there is a moment you got to step off stage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's cool. And what about as far as like the Black Heron Gallery fan base? Is it the same as the people are the fans of your art and your music? Do you find that those two are the same, or do you feel like there's people who love your art and your writings and stuff, but they don't know that you have this music side of you too? And does your
Well,
fan base of the music side know about your art side? Oh, I guess they do because of your album covers. But as far as the other side,
Well, the music fan base is definitely cool, and they've been supportive. They've been on board with everything I'm doing, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool. So,
hmm,
and some of them are reaching out to buy stuff. I've had people, um, buy a few of these books and asking about sales of paintings and stuff like that. And I'm just like, well, I can't really tell too many of the prices because, like I said, they're just getting ready for a gallery art show
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
And it's like I can tell you the price, but if I end up signing with my my friend that's art manager, if we end up
yeah.
signing a gallery thing, I won't be able to sell anything private unless
That's
it's just
true.
making them
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So,
true.
and the funny thing is, if I tell you a price now, and then these people take my art, it's going to be double what I just told you, and you won't
Yeah,
be able to buy it through me. You have to buy it through them.
that's true.
But
Yeah, yeah.
but
That's how that.
I'm not trying to talk anybody to buying my art.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to talk. Hey, dude, you should buy it now. Which technically you should because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to be cheaper now. Even if
Go to yahoo.com. That's good.
yeah,
Or whatever
even
your
if this
website.
piece is $4,000, it's going to be cheaper than it will be when it gets in the gallery.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Get it while you
but
can, man.
yeah, so
That's
um.
cool.
So yeah, I just but I'm getting new people that are real art people or art collectors.
Hmm.
People are starting to talk and start to comment on the art, and that's cool.
Yeah, like totally appreciate it and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and in the poetry world, in literature world, I'm starting to. This is actually the first time this whole year has been the first time I've actually started getting. Now I've been publishing little rock stuff, little music
Yeah, yeah,
stuff all through the
yeah,
year.
yeah,
But this year, I'll have to admit, this is probably about the first year that I started getting published in literature,
hmm,
so
yeah,
magazines. So
yeah. It's
that's pretty
amazing.
cool.
It's good stuff. And then like as far as like what do you see coming after this book? Like, do you have any plans for another book, like maybe a sequel to this, or is it going to be like
Oh no, I definitely. I've already got 12 drawings done for the new book. Um,
nice?
I'm going to release a little chap book,
Yeah.
like a little single. It'll like have two of these poems from here, and it'll
Hmm.
also have like I think it's going to have 7 new poems.
Okay.
I'm going
Cool.
to release that, and then I'll probably release that before the fall or in the summer, and
Yeah.
then I'm just going to put together the second edition of this with a new cover,
Hmm.
and it'll be bigger book.
And just so everyone knows, like, you know, you get these bookmarks. If you got the book, I think, did you already get all 50 of them out already, or are you gonna plan on doing more of these?
No, I still probably got. I think I still got 19 of them to do.
Yeah, and this is
I
kind of
think I
cool.
might have sold like almost 30 books.
It's a cool little promo, right? It's a promo of
yeah,
the alligator goat, and
yeah, that might be the cover of the next chapbook. I'm not sure.
Okay,
Yet.
yeah,
So,
yeah, I like it. Let's look at some of the illustrations. Okay, let me see. Yeah, what's this one called? And
the twig skeleton.
yeah, I like that. Then we got
My decomposing pumpkin girl. It's a song.
That's a song.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a song I wrote and I can play on the guitar, but I've never recorded yet.
Oh yeah, I haven't recorded yet. Okay.
Tapping the top of her coffin.
Nice. I like that one. Like that's fucking badass right there.
Sapphire harp. Yeah.
Yeah. Dragon there and shit. I like
That's
that one.
the last dragon of Knock Phelan.
That one is? Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, it's a world I created back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Knock Phelan. I've been writing and drawing about it for like forever.
Okay.
So, and this next drawing is the courtship of the Centaur Prince and Raspberry Muse. That's another Knock Phelan story.
Okay.
Oh crap!
I like this one a lot. Like I like the way it looks with the outfit, and it's badass.
That's the snake charmer.
Yeah, the snake charmer. Yeah. Get the cobra down there, a hawk on his shoulder. Yeah, and that's like
that one's just something weird I put in there, but it kind of goes with the poem.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think I'm mad? Yeah.
It's kind of similar like that, except for it's a different person. But yeah, like
right.
The lips.
That painting's called the Sow of Froghead Ridge.
Oh, cool. I like that right there.
That one's called Don't Whistle into the Hills.
Yeah.
These are things. That's some sage advice I learned when I was raised up there in the summers in Kentucky and the Appalachian Hills.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're from the pretty much the South, right? Is that what they consider the South? Yeah. When was the last time you were back there?
Oh God, 15 years ago.
Oh, 15 years. Yeah. So I noticed. I think I saw a post where you were with your son and you guys were out looking at locations. Are you guys looking? Are you filming like a new short movie? Because I know that's what you do as well.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to. I got this feature. It's about a 90-minute feature. You know, something crazy.
Damn. I want to keep 90 minutes. That's a good amount of time right there.
Right. I want to.
That's no short film. You know.
Yeah, I'm going to be filming another BSG video real quick, but but we're looking for some areas to film this this bizarre. It's going to be I guess you'd throw it as an art house / silent films, but it's going to have sound too, and I don't know. It's just going to be dark and bizarre, you know.
Yeah.
And it's about a musician, so
yeah.
So it's going to have some crazy stuff in it.
Nice. And what about as far as Black Heron Gallery? What are you guys doing these days? Obviously, you're probably working on new music, I would imagine. Is there anything on the horizon as far as a new album or tour?
Well, I'm just trying to get back. I mean, I kind of just told the guys just take a break for the last 5-6 months here.
Okay, yeah.
After we got the 2 fall shows didn't go through. You know, one was at the Whiskey, got canceled, and something that Chris was putting together that didn't.
Didn't go through.
The promoter decided on another date or whatever. So I said, just you know what, I got to finish editing this book, and the book is almost there, so I'm going to take these next couple months just concentrate and get it out.
Yeah.
And I was been talking to the guy that were for the art, and they were trying to get some pieces together to for gallery stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I said, and I'm still writing, so I said, unless something comes up, I said, I'm not disbanding or anything, but we're just going to we don't need to worry about it until let's just pick it up after Christmas. So
like so hiatus until
right.
Yeah, that's cool. And now when you go into galleries, like, is there a particular gallery that you're gonna be in? As far as like, is that like kind of too far to tell right now?
Well, I'm planning on putting together my own show. Even if we have to rent a place, sometime by the end of the year. But there are a number of LA galleries and that we're going to be looking at,
What's Melrose? What's Melrose like these days? I know Melrose was always very artsy and a lot of cool like art galleries.
Oh, it was pretty cool last time I seen it. I mean, I went. Me and Chris went to the David J. From Bauhaus, his art show in Pasadena. a few months back, and that might be a place. But I think they moved that art gallery somewhere else. So
Yeah.
we're I got some targeted art galleries that I'm going to tell the guy to maybe check out, but we'll just see. I mean, the good thing is if there is anybody, if there's a gallery that's interested, I can keep these coming.
Yeah.
I'm no short of ideals. That's for
Uh-huh.
damn
You're like a fountain of good ideas in art. Yeah.
sure. Or fucked up ideas.
Yeah. Fountain of
I guess
fucked
it
up
depends
ideas.
on who we're talking to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a market for fucked up shit. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's definitely
Yeah.
a market for it. Do you remember like how like the youngest that you were, like when you first kind of created your first story, when you got that bug of like knowing that's what you want to do, is be a like just tell stories, like do you remember how old you
Oh,
were?
probably, I don't know, 10 or 12,
Yeah, because I always remember like when I started drawing, it's like maybe 6 or 7, and copying like Charlie Brown and the Flintstones and drawing them. That's why I got that bug to sort of, and then always you know creating little comic strips like that were similar to Mad Magazine, and that's why I kind of always that's what got the bug or whatever to be a creator at some point. And so I wonder, like, especially you, like, as a kid, were you always like fascinated by that kind of stuff, like the horror nursery rhymes and
Oh yeah,
things like
yeah,
that? Yeah,
all the time, yeah.
like the Grim
It's
Tales.
just,
And
yeah, it was cool.
what do
I
you
always,
what do you think turned you onto that as a kid? Like, was there something on TV that you saw? Like for me, I saw weird stuff when I saw the Jack and the Beanstalk. I don't know if everyone remembers this, but there was a version of Jack and the Beanstalk on Showtime, and it was animated. And I remember like just the giant, but then there was like this witch in it. It was just, her face was very unique and weird looking and scary at the same. This was the first time I've ever been scared of a cartoon. I was like 6 or 7 years old when this thing came out. And I just remember my dad was watching it, and that just kind of like always burned an image in my head. So I was wondering, like, maybe with you, was there something that sort of that you saw as a kid that inspired this kind of imagery for you to do later on in life?
well, like I said, that poem, Orphan Annie, and then
Yeah.
just horror movies, and then creepy drawings. Anything that was anything from fairies and elves to witches and ghouls and
Yeah.
creepy ghosts and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
just hearing kids, how they'll tell each other scary stories, just hearing scary
Yeah.
stories at Halloween, and
Yeah.
in Indiana, where I did a lot of growing up, South Bend, Halloween was windy and cold. There were some good scary nights.
Yeah, it was actually
So,
what Halloween's supposed to be about.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Oh, cool.
But I mean,
Well,
just walking in Kentucky at night down back in the hollers, that's
uh-huh.
scary. And we had hollers on our farm, so
Oh, yeah, okay.
no one walked down there, but I eventually walked down there. I mean, let's put it this way: go ahead and go down there. I dare you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And then come. My son's like, "Well, Dad, what if I don't?" I said, "Son, I can guarantee you, with every breath of my body, walk into the woods. You'll know, you can feel the darkness. It doesn't happen everywhere." I said, just walk down. Don't think of anything. Walk to the end of down into the holler. And I said, yeah. I said, you're gonna feel a chill somewhere in your body. Your hair will raise up. It'll be a tree. It'll be a rock, or it'll be an area of the ground.
Yeah.
Dark spirit. You won't feel it everywhere, but you'll feel it in spots.
It'll be the best high you'll ever have as a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, of course,
That's
at
cool.
first, when I felt that, I just thought it was a little weird. It felt scary too, but I didn't know. But as more of the mythology and
Yeah, yeah.
the tales of those places came to light to me as a child, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Well, before we wrap up, you want to read a poem or two from your book, and
sure.
we'll have a little reading here, so to give the audience a little bit of a taste of what they're going to experience when they get out there and get this book.
All right, I'm going to put on my reading glasses.
Yeah, put on the granny glasses there. Yeah. What magnifying do you use? I use 2.50. What do you?
No, the 3.
Oh, really? Okay, I might be going to the 3 soon, because I was 175 and I went up to 250. So.
I'm gonna read. Let me read. Like one. I told you that world I created, not failing. Let me read one that's kind of lyrical. It's called "The Battle on Troll Hill." There's one of the little characters in it.
Oh, okay, yeah, nice.
That's a troll. That's my trolls.
Yeah.
All right, here goes. Battle of Troll Hill. Flipping tails and anguish-flavored wails, whip-smacking the stubborn beast.
Mm.
The riverboats set sail in numbers while the trolls bury their deceased. Come now, follow the black waters. There's a frightful tale to tell. It's okay, you're in the Darklands, and there's no such place as hell. Buckle your belts tight. Make sure your swords don't slide, because the goblins have impregnated their wives and are prepared to die. Xenophis blows her kisses, empowering her troll disciples. All is well in the river depths, and the ferryman lights no torches this ghastly eve. Hush now. The pole arms clash and bang together as troll soldiers make their way to the riverbanks. The troll generals stop and summon their troops to pray. The Grand Gadesi River has never beheld such a darkly and frightening sight, as legions of river trolls raise their weapons and bodies out of the velvety black waters. They scream an eerie, cryptic prayer to the Dark One, Xenophis. They head toward the hill. As they hover out of the water, flag bearers chain themselves to the troll priest. They do this to increase the master archer's ability to execute the priest if they're captured. From the darkened forest, a whimsical swarm of nightshade fairies is frightened into a frenzy by a murder of crows. There is a distant, loud slapping of twisted tree branches and dry underbrush. Then, as the moonlight shines through the debris, the elaborate and beautiful armor of the haunting goblin lords can be seen. Beautiful but dangerous creatures, hunters to all that don't fear and respect them. The goblins' horses, clad in dark armor, breathe large breaths of air in the cold night winds. The trolls step onto the river banks and make their way to the hill. The goblin lords wait quietly and smoke the pipe of immortal hunters.
Nice.
They intend to they intend to leave no troll alive. The trolls bow one more time to the living god of Knockfalen. The goblins leap into battle. The hill becomes slippery with blood, slippery with the blood of trolls. Ding dong, the war bell tolls.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, and you get such visuals like when you're just reading that. It's like I said, this stuff needs to be in a movie or like a series of some sort.
That's cool, yeah. That's what
Yeah,
my son keeps telling me. He's like, Dad, please.
got it
I
up,
mean, because he loves the Dungeons and Dragons stuff too,
Yeah,
So he's like,
yeah. Yeah, I bet if you like, obviously, I think if you found like the right producer and director that can actually make it happen, that way you don't have to do all the work yourself. But if you can find just that somebody's that's in that industry that does that,
oh yeah, I would totally be up to that. I mean, I would be
yeah.
okay maybe doing a few conceptions, but it's like as long as they
Mhm.
just kind of like, hey, worked with me and did the, I'm like, yeah, that looks like what I was talking about. It'd be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You definitely want
Because
full creative control over it.
besides, because anybody that's doing that project, I'm gonna have my name on it because of the story and stuff,
Hmm.
or some of the and they can
Yeah.
just, and I'm sure they would put some of my conceptual art at least when they were writing about it,
Hmm.
in those books where they put out about the project.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is that world called again that you created? It's called
Knockfalen.
Knockfalen.
It means night of the visible people or fairies.
Oh yeah, okay.
Nightland. It's
Okay.
a world that only has 3 hours of moonlight.
Oh wow, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
excuse me, 3 hours of daylight.
Yeah.
So, but it's like document. I got I think it's like 8 or 9 poems that kind of document the world.
It'd be cool if you like put out a series of that, just like little short stories and just
Yeah, it's
expand
funny.
that world.
It's funny you said that, Eric. I have
Yeah.
the cover for it. It's called Knockfalen,
All
and
right. Nice.
it was a chat. It was going to be a chat book that I was going to introduce to some people. So
Yeah.
you probably will see that too in the next year
Okay.
or two.
Cool. Yeah, because that could be that can catch on right there. I mean, yeah, the
Yeah,
horror
because
fantasy one.
there's about 9. Excuse me, there's about 6 of the stories that aren't in here that are
Mm-hmm.
done. I just didn't put them in this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing stuff, man. Oh yeah. Yahoo! December Joseph on the show. I do thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, man, it was fun.
Yeah,
I love it.
we're definitely looking forward to everything you do. I mean, you're like I said, you're an artist that people need to see, people need to know about, and I'm hoping that my audience can gravitate towards what you got and get out there and get that shit. And, support the arts, man, no matter what. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and the beauty about art is that it's subjective. I mean, whenever I
Hey,
put something out, like I don't expect everyone to like what I do, but I say, you know what? Those who do like it, they get what I get. They get it, you know. I
Right.
wouldn't put anything out if I didn't like it, you know.
Exactly. I like a lot of different music, and I was never a super big fan of, like, all the black metal and death metal. But over the years, I
Yeah,
like a lot because I like the music. I just didn't, because I
yeah,
couldn't hear the lyrics. I was kind of like,
yeah, like
but I never thought I'd go that way. But I'm gonna tell you right here now that I heard a band today that may have seduced me into that,
oh yeah,
to maybe experimenting with a project in that genre.
in that genre, yeah.
Yeah.
What band was that?
Um. Let's see. What are they called? Is it Blind Absence or
Maybe Blind Guardian? No, because it's more
no?
like I don't like their black metal. I think they're more like death metal.
Something Absent.
But
Absence.
is it a female black metal band?
No, it's a male, but it's got like they've it's kind of like a super group. I think people from Sepultura or something's in it too.
Oh yeah, like different guys. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of really melodic black metal. I've been hearing a lot of I've been getting into like that stuff, like where it's black metal, but there's a lot of good melodies in there, with keyboards.
Well, the song that I heard, I don't even remember the song at the moment. I mean, it's on my phone, but I can't get it because it'll, but it I was like listening to the music landscape before the vocals came in, and I'm like, geez, this is something that I would write. So
yeah.
And I listened to it, and I said, you know what, it's, what I might be doing in the next few years too, Eric, is I just might treat music like a movie,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
because I've got a lot of different music visions. That's why I'm doing I mean, they're all rooted in the goth death rock thing, but as Black Heron Gallery is different than the Vamps, so Spiders of Grey Ridge, this new thing, is going to be different than BSG, even though there's going to be similarities because I write,
Yeah. I mean, you can't get away from who you are as a writer, but it's definitely going to be different from.
But Spiders isn't going to have the double kick or the style drum that Tony does. It's going to be a lot more minimalistic.
That trips me out when people say like when a person of a band goes off and does something solo, then the people say like, oh, it sounds just like whatever. Like, but the whole point of doing a solo album is like you're doing it different than the band you're in. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing a solo.
Right. I mean, the thing is like, but I mean, it's like I listen to Christian Death with Roz, and then his Shadow Project. If you didn't know, you would think that they're the same thing because they are. His voice, he's doing the same thing. But Shadow Project has keyboards, and a lot of it, Christian Death doesn't have keyboards. So
exactly, yeah.
But I enjoy them both.
Yeah, me too.
They're both great. I mean,
I like this. Yeah,
I always have a couple of days where I'm just listening to my my underground stuff, and of course. I'll always put that one on. It's a great one. I love it.
Yeah. I finally got that on vinyl not too long ago. I got like the reissue. Yeah,
I got reissues too, but they're great.
I like the reissues because it comes with different extra stuff. Like maybe remixes. It might come with a poster.
I love all that shit. That's another reason why I said, let me do Spiders so I can put my color art on it and stuff like that.
Are we gonna get a Black Heron Gallery on vinyl? Is it already on vinyl?
Yeah, it's gonna be on vinyl. There was a record company talking to us last year. I don't know if they're still interested. They were we were going to talk some more this year, so we'll see. If not, I'll put it on vinyl. I'll have at least a limited 200.
Because I thought like I heard someone. I don't know if it's even happened yet. I don't think it has, but I remember Bandcamp was supposed to like have a print on demand feature for like vinyl and CD.
They do, but you have to come up with a certain amount of money.
Is that what it is? Yeah,
worth of orders first. It's like you can't just do one.
Oh,
but,
okay.
The demand is coming so on there. I've seen now. At first, there was a couple places that were going to try to do one album, one record, and it cost you like $100 for one. It's like, what good is that?
Yeah, right.
If you can't get it for a resale value, it's really not doing anybody any good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but there's been a couple, but they're starting to pop out more and more. So I would think eventually, because I don't think vinyl's ever going away now. I think it's going to stay forever.
Yeah, now it's as big as it ever was, I think.
Right, and it's like, and people are just coming out more and more ways, and there's something else going on with vinyl that I didn't even know they're doing, and they're doing variants, right? So now people that put out an album, they're not just doing one album anymore because the record company's like, well, if they're buying that, they're going to buy what else. So now people are doing like You know, maybe you do 3 albums. You could do 3 albums, just do the same cut and just put a different song on each one. You know,
Yeah, they have like a different bonus
ship
tracks
without a
on.
song. You know, different covers and
Yeah,
so.
different colored vinyl.
And
Yep.
I'm thinking 3 variants. And no, some of these bigger artists, they're doing 10, 15, 18, 9
Yeah.
different variants. So
The band Ghost, their last album Imperium or whatever. I was like, I think I think they put out like 50 different versions of that, like different colored vinyls and different stuff. And I got like 18 of those different versions of it. That's like the one album where I bought the most different versions of a record.
well, I knew there was extended versions, but I never heard about the variant thing until just recently. And I like
Yeah,
extended version stuff. So
yeah.
because Depeche Mode kind of made that famous for me, all the extended versions.
Yeah.
So but
Depeche Mode
but like the comic book industry was really well known for the variant covers, right?
covers, yeah, and they still
Yeah,
do that.
so I
Yeah.
thought, because I was telling Erin, she's one that laid the book out for me. I said, you
Uh-huh.
know what, I'm probably going to do some variant covers, but but the thing is like I'll just, I'll do like second, third editions or whatever,
Yeah.
and just add more art and more stories and poetry to it. So
Yeah, that's a good thing to do. Yep. Makes you want to buy it again, and then that way you have extra stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because this version that you got is the first off the press of it ever being published. So with
Yeah.
its ISMB official number and everything. So
I like that image on the back too. That's really cool.
oh, thank you. Yeah.
What's that kid's name there?
I don't know.
You haven't named it yet. Sparky. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you definitely got a cool ass style, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this is the end of the show. We have to come to a close. You got to get on doing what you got. What do you got? Rehearsal after this?
Let's see. I'm just doing a little painting and go. I'm chilling tonight. I'm gonna watch a movie.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna watch that Superman, the Christopher Reeve documentary that just came out.
Oh yeah, I saw that. You know what? I might do that too.
Yeah, that looks really good. And then so it's been a pleasure. And definitely keep us posted on what you have coming up, and we'll definitely have you on the show again. Definitely like to have a Black Heron Gallery on at some point, or even when you get your new project,
yeah, definitely.
We'll
I'll
definitely come on and talk about that. And
I'll get you whatever's coming out from all those.
You plan on doing a single for that new project?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to do, because like I said,
pop out a single or two before.
I don't know if it's gonna be 4 or 5 songs. But a single, I'll just release a couple, and then I'm gonna try to put a live band together for it, but and maybe finish the album after that, unless it comes together before I get any people.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I'm trying to do some Black Heron Gallery. I got some Black Heron Gallery stuff, but I'll probably try to work on some of that maybe later in the year or something like that. But
put out some rare demos or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Oh yeah. All right, my brother. It's
All
been
right,
real. So for everyone out there, get out there and get one Death Box, one Fable at lulu.com, right? www.lulu.com. Can they buy it directly through you as well? Like, do you have a website yourself that you
I don't really have the website. I have the page on Facebook. Just message me and I can give you the ordering information. Yeah,
just look up Eyajo December Joseph on Facebook.
I guess like all online everywhere. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Booktopia, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I'll put the link to Lulu in the comments. I would put in the description, but I don't know. The YouTube for some reason is punishing me for something. They won't tell me what I did. They say like, oh, we can't put links in your thing anymore until you improve your YouTube channel or something. Like, well, what do I need to improve on? They won't tell me. Like, what did I do wrong? So, but even I could put it in the comments and then pin it to so look out for the pinned comment with the link.
Okay, cool.
Unless my YouTube is back to normal again, because like I said, they wouldn't tell me what I did wrong, but we'll see. All right, everyone. So be kind to yourself, be kind to everyone, especially in this crazy world we're in, because if you're not good to yourself, you're no good to anyone else. Horns up and peace out.
All right, man. See ya.
Yeah. Hey, don't go anywhere yet. I'm going to end the show by showing the Black Heron Gallery video called Taste of Worms. But again, get out there and get one Death Box, one Fable from Eyajo December Joseph, the singer of Black Heron Gallery and the author of this book and the illustrator. It was a cool interview, man. I really enjoyed talking to that dude every time he's on. So yeah, hopefully have him back soon, and enjoy this video from Black Heron Gallery. This is from their album, The Feast of Bats.